ルフィ、私はあなたの決定に従うけど、海賊の同盟には裏切りがつきものよ。人を信じすぎるあなたには不向きかもしれない。
え、お前裏切んのか？
いや。やろな！ちった疑え。
Hello everyone and welcome to another video. This time we are doing a box opening for PRB number 2. So hope you guys have had good luck with your pulls recently. I am hoping to pull, obviously the manga is great, SPs and everything, but the particular thing that I'm looking for that everyone else might not be looking for is the Robin Dogs. So particularly the gold ones. I'd like to probably do 5 Robin Don from this set, and then the 5 Japanese Straw Hat Don, the purple ones that I have. So that would be ideal, I think, for my Don set. So that's what we're hoping for. Otherwise, just mostly the new cards. So we can try out some of the decks that are new in this format. So let's just hop into it. We have our first pack here. Cavendish, Jinbei, Gion. This is a pretty good one. There's a lot more events nowadays than there have been in the past. Moda, Crocodile. Oh, this one is one of the promo ones. We have a Uta, Shinx, Curly Dan. Ooh, I don't know if this is coming through, but there's a pretty neat texture on this one. You got the fire, like from when she was running through the gray terminal trying to find Luffy, and I think that's a pretty cool one. This is a good card. Hasn't seen too much play recently, but pretty good. Oh, and then we have this custom kind of foiling on this one. That's pretty cool. The hook is all shiny, whereas the rest is matte. That's pretty cool. And then we have our Vegapunk Don. So feels like a fun start with some of those interesting foiling effects. And let's get into the next pack. Sengoku. This one I think is one that probably will appreciate in value over time, but we'll see. So Beam Sword, one of the ultimate gachas. Hideo, Katarina Devon, X-Drake. This is a really good guy. I think this should probably see play in more decks, but it is not so far. Fingo Pistol, another great reprint. Hawkins. Luffy here. Looks like the foiling on this one looks like vines, like from the jungle. That's pretty neat. And then we have Godthread. This one is less interesting. It looks like they just did the foiling on the background, but not on the text box here. And then we have our first Foilidon. This one is Sugar. I'll try to see if I can get it to come through on the camera. Let's see. Yeah, you can kind of see that it's coming through. It's got a neat pattern in the background. So this one's fun. Moving on to our next pack. What do I want to talk about? So one of the cards that I am looking forward to in the new set is the Ace that goes in the ST13 Brothers decks. I have a friend who plays Black Yellow Luffy, or is always really like Black Yellow Luffy, and he went undefeated at his tournament this week, and it was a pretty important thing. Laboon we have, that's a great one, a lot less valuable now that it's getting this reprint. Jinbei with some neat waves, and the Bonnie, oh, this one's got meat and pizza. That's hard to tell if you can see that. And that's a pretty good one. This one does have an SP, so not a premium version, but a pretty nice one. And then we have Marcodon. That's pretty good. But yeah, that new Ace, I am interested. I have traditionally not liked the Black Yellow Luffy, but I think in the absence of Moria, it might be a card, a leader that I would consider giving another shot. Moria really was the card that broke that deck, and so a version of it that doesn't rely on for several turns in a row going to 9k and essentially being unbeatable is great. I think this is the first of our new cards. We have here the Sabo. This one is really similar to the purple Sanji from OP07, where he's in his raid suit. And I do think that this is going to be a, I would expect to see very similar 2k counter, 6 cost 6ks with conditional ability to be played for 3. I think that's going to be something to look forward to. Pretty basic, just navy background. Shut up and come with us. This one's just like the other one, where there's not a whole lot of extra foiling going on, but it is a pretty good card to hold on to. There's a bit of foiling in the text here, which is pretty cool. Moving on to the next pack. But yeah, like I was saying, the BY Luffy is one that I would probably play. I have a couple decks that I still need to play before OP13 comes out, and I think if I have room in the schedule, BY Luffy will be one of them. And I'll have to use his list and kind of get some tips from him, because he's been playing that deck for a long time. We have Basil Hawkins here. Brooke, another card that was super expensive at one point, but has now come down to a much more reasonable place now that it's been reprinted. This Buggy Dawn, it's got coins all over it. It's pretty fun. And then another Croc. This is the promo one. The foiling again on the hook is pretty cool. And then I think we would consider this a Caligara Dawn here. It's hard to say since this is obviously a mismatched time period for it. But that's kind of what I think we're going for, is a Caligara Dawn, where you ring the bell for Nolan. We got Robin here, Sambo, Shiki, the Megapunk Searcher, Koala. This is one that I hadn't had a chance to pick up out of the promo packs, so this is a good one to have. Zoro, here's a new card that we've got here. This one I think is going to be seeing play in some number in most of the Supernovas and Slash type leaders. I fully expect that to kind of bear out. So good to see that one. Then we have Boa, our second SR for the new cards. I am interested to see this one being at 5 cost. This does curve into what's it called? Gravity Blade very well. The downside of having to discard the trigger for it is a pretty big downside, but I do think that there's probably still some justification, and maybe in like a Nami deck, if you were to focus on 7 Warlords, because you have the Searcher for it. So definitely one I will keep an eye on. And this Vanilla, this is a pretty lackluster foiling, but it is different. And then the big Whitebeard symbol here with the Whitebeard card. There's definitely a world in which this is more playable in the Nami deck, because it does trigger the Nami ability, and it is searchable off of the Izo. And then we have God Usopp as the Dawn for the turn. So what other decks are we interested in here? We'd like to get the Nami Searchers so that we can play those in Robin. I do think that a Straw Hat Robin deck would be awfully nice to play with, because you'd have access to a lot of different things. Yeah, Speak of the Devil, here is that Nami. One I'm definitely looking for a playset of, if I can manage it. Ben Beckman. Sangoro. This is one that I really wish I had a chance to try in Robin. I do think that this is the kind of effect that she needs. The problem being that it's just so hard to keep it alive in a deck where you're already low on cards. But definitely one that I would like to try. And then Slave Arrow, this is a great tech card. So having this one with some extra flair in the foiling department is a nice one. And to go with it, we even have the Boa Foilidon. So I think that means that we can't get a Gold Dawn in this pack because of this. It's because I think you just get the 2 foil Dawns, so we'll be looking for basic Dawns at this point. And let's keep going. We haven't hit any of our alt arts yet, or any of our secrets. So hoping to get some good value in those slots. Luffy, Shachi and Penguin, Jump Rope, Katarina Devon, Dragon Breath, 16 Pistol. These zero cost events are really great. I'm glad to see them, and they are sticking around from my knowledge past rotation. And then we have Dragon. Bonclay here, again, good, great card. Unfortunately, this reprint here tanks its value quite significantly, but it's still a great card and one that'll probably see play in most purple decks. So let's go ahead and put that there. Ooh, and then another Slave Arrow. That's pretty neat to get these Slave Arrows back to back, because these are the kinds of cards that you do want to have. You don't need necessarily all 4 of them, but having a couple of them is great. And then we have a Sanjidan. Here we have Sanji's Pilaf. And then moving on to the next pack. So if I am correct on the ratios, we should have one more secret, a couple alt arts, and I think that'll be it for packs for guaranteed hits. Nojiko, great card in our Nami deck. Moda, Sanji. This one is a little harder to get access to because it's the this is not a Straw Hat Sanji. Here's the Ace. That's the first one of those. We will need to hold on to that for Black Yellow. We have a Teach, Sabo. 4 cards less in your hand. The character gains 2,000. Probably not one that sees a ton of play, but I could definitely see it popping up every once in a while. And then we have the 5-drop Bonnie. This is one of the ones that's been harder to get in the US. Again, with the pizza and meat background for the foiling, and a lot of glittery on this one. So nice to get this one, and a pretty reasonable card to use in maybe the green yellow what's it called, green yellow law, as a pretty good card to flip and then really set your opponent back if you have a good opportunity, particularly if you're trying to play to a cost kid line. That can be a pretty effective thing to do, is get rid of their cards that would be able to attack it. Shiki 2020 Chopper, great 2K here. Momonosuke. Ooh, this is a pretty good one. Here we have the Teach with the his Jolly Roger in the background. This is a card that I think is one to keep an eye on, even if you don't, even if it doesn't have a home very well right now. I do think it's the kind of card that will hold out. Then we have the Sabo. That makes the second brother we have with the foiling. Looks like they have the same foiling. So we have a Sabo now and a Luffy, if I remember correctly. Moving on. What other cards are we looking for? Oh, the Moria. The Moria is the other one that I think that is one that we definitely want to hit. The Perona deck is definitely on my list of decks I want to play before PRB ends. And you really need that Moria to make it viable. You have the Black Maria, Buggy, and Amuno Murakumo Sword. It's kind of unfortunate that Sakazuki came back right in time to be pushed out of the meta by Emu, but it was a fun deck. I would definitely like to play it some more. Now that it is more in line with the correct level of competitiveness, it's a way more fun to play a deck where you're not getting to steamroll over your opponent. At least from my perspective, I don't generally like gameplay that's super one-sided. At least not on the. Well, I mean, I guess I would prefer to be on the winning side, but it's not that engaging. Got our Cavendish here, great card. But now that it's reprinted, way less of a worry. Black Hole, I'll have to see if my resident Blackbeard player needs these black holes for his deck. I don't know how many he is running right now, but I think it's more than one, so it's a great card to have in that kind of premium version there. Usohachi, another great card that'll drop precipitously now that it's been reprinted. Lime Juice, another Chopper. Okay, here's our first alt art here. We have this Jimbei. It's a 2K counter. I do have a person who plays the Jinbei leader, so I will see if he is interested in getting this one from me. Let's go ahead and put this in a separate pile. And then Apu and a Yamatodon. That's actually pretty cool. Moving on, we still need a secret and an alt-art to round out the packs here. But yeah, the Perona deck is definitely one I'm interested in playing. I don't have the highest of hopes for it, but I do want to see it played. Sabo Rayleigh's actually a pretty good one. I don't remember the texture on this one being this intricate, but it's been a while since I played a deck that used it. But definitely a pretty card here. And we have another Sangoro and Caesardon. All right, so now at this point we are just looking for one more alt art, and then if we hit any other hits, those would just be nice to have. And obviously some of the new rares would be nice to have. Luffy, Evolutionary RQ, Searcher, Rouge, Carrot. Ooh, here's our next alt art, and this is actually a quite good one. These zero cost events, I think these are probably always going to be legal. They're just such staple effects. And the red one, while probably less common than some of the other ones, is still just as good of a card as the others. Shiki, oh, that's an interesting, the foiling makes this one look more interesting than the card tends to be. And a Lindon to round it out. All right, so now at this point we are looking for just the kind of our basic hits, and maybe if we get lucky we'll get a bonus hit. Hina, great card. I'm glad that they're keeping this one around in the format. Killer, Ace. I think this, look at the top 5 here. Interesting. I don't, oh, this is the one that came out of the premium. It's this art I didn't recognize here. Jinbei, and one of the new cards, great one to pull. Toshigi, great card. Nojiko, with the tangerines in the foiling. This one's pretty good. I will definitely try to switch to this one if I can get enough copies of it for my Dami deck. 10-layer Igloo, not one I expected to see much play, but I'm glad that it does get some, because it is an interesting card, giving you +5 effectively, and also being quite potent at dealing with multi-swings. Got our Robin here, Sangoro, Slave Arrow, Buggy, Bartolomeo, great card here, Gum Gum Giant, Newgate, Luffy with the film here in the background. That's a pretty neat effect. Kurita Coliseum. This is actually a pretty good one. I don't know if this one got a premium version in the first PRB, but if it didn't, this is a pretty nice pull. And then we have our Kiroston. Moving on, wrapping up. This is our third to last pack here. And let's see what we can pull. Mountain God, Tenya Igloo, Cartilage Den, Monet, Black Hole, Badmanner's Kick Course, Mihawk, X-Drake. That's pretty effective foiling. I would probably try to get that one as well. Gum Gum Lightning, and then a Shankthon. This one's actually really cool. I do like the effect on that one. Let's see what else we get here. Buggy Brook, Ivan, Whitesnake, X-Drake, Lucky Ruse is a new card. Real great for the Shanks deck, even though I think the Shanks isn't quite getting there in the meta. I think it is a pretty interesting card. Rebecca, always great to have Rebeccas. Those are probably going to, as long as they are in, as long as black is viable and as long as it's a rotation, it'll be real great. This is actually a pretty neat foiling for this Nico Robin here. And then Shachi Penguin. This card, I really wonder if they will ever support the replacement Ripple Law, because that's like the only deck that can effectively use that card as anything more than a 2K. So I'm interested to see if they, because they keep printing that card, and it feels like they intend for red purple to eventually be powerful again, but it hasn't gotten there yet. This is our final pack here. Sabo, Kamazo, Zoro, Charlotte Pudding, one of the new ones. That's great to see. And then we have Katarina Devon. I have my crew. This is one that I think could see play in a particular deck. It's a tough one to make work because +3 is so minimal as far as value. The draw card makes it a lot easier, but it's such a minimal effect that I don't think that it'll see play. But I guess then going back through our hits, we got New Pudding. These are all reprints. Got a secret here. Cavendish is notable. Bonclay. New. Okay, so notable reprints and shiny cards. We have Sabo as a new card. We have Bo Hancock, Mr. Bonclay, Cavendish, Rayleigh, Charlotte Pudding, and then our two alt arts, we have Bad Manners Kick Course and Jimbei. And then our Foily Dawn, we got Bo Hancock, and we got Sugar. So didn't hit kind of the top end stuff that we were looking for. Actually, let me look through because I don't even think we got a Robin Dawn now that I'm thinking about it. This is Foxy, Kobe, Shanks, Chiros, Shirahoshi, Lim, Caesar, Yamato, Dragon, Bonnie, another Boa Dawn. This is Snake Man Luffy, so blue-purple Luffy, Sanji with the Sanji's Pilaf, Usopp, Calgara, Lucci, Marco, and Vegapunk. So no Robin Dawns here. We got some of the rares that we were looking for, but we didn't get any of the Moria, which is a little disappointing. We're gonna have to see what we end up with. It looks like my my Kumas won't arrive on time, so I don't think I'm going to be able to play Robin this week. And without getting any of the Morias, I might not get to play Perona either. So it's looking like we'll probably end up playing Green Yellow Law with the new OP12 support in the Slash package. But you guys will see tomorrow, as of the posting of this video, what I end up playing. But thanks for hanging out with me while I open some packs, and I will see you guys in the next video.